All right, Nico Horning here with the Newhouse Sports Media Center, heading out to Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco, and we're happy to be joined with the NFL Red Zone host, Scott Hanson himself. Scott, great to see you as always.
Nico, good to be with you. Go Orange and happy home Super Bowl for you.
I know. It is pretty cool having it in Northern California once again. So should be fun. Should be a fun
How many
week. I know
Super
you'll be
Bowls will
out
this
there.
be for you?
How many? First
Yeah,
one for me attending
first one
or
as a
any media
media
stuff.
member.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
it. Well, and you know what? You beat me to it. I didn't go to my first Super Bowl until I was probably around 30, I think. But now this is Super Bowl 17 or 18 for me in my career. So may you break that record.
Well, congrats on that. Hopefully not the last, but no, it should be a fun experience. And I know you've come back to Syracuse for a various amount of appearances the last few years, and it's been great having you back as always. So thanks for your support. And I know there'll be plenty of Orange on Radio Row and everything in the next
For
week or
sure.
so, I'm sure. So
For sure. For sure.
wanted to start off real quick. I saw your tweet a little bit recently, going back to that graphic posted by the NFL in September.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous, wild, whatever you want to say it. For those that don't know, and we'll put it on this interview, Drake May, Sam Darnold in the front of, I don't know, maybe 20 guys or so from the NFL, most of the stars
No,
on this
32.
graphic.
There was one
Was it?
for
Oh, it was
every
32,
guy,
one for each team.
every team. Yep. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, all looking forward, and May and Darnold happen to be in the front. And anyway, you kind of referred back to that tweet, which is pretty cool. So how ironic for that to happen in what was a wild season.
I kind of knew when I put it out there that it would grab the conspiracy theory. It's scripted, folks. But I was like, yeah, whatever. Someone else is going to put it out there anyway, and it was just, I mean, what an amazing coincidence. It's not scripted for those of you who are really wondering. I'm behind the curtain. I would know if it was. It's not. Uh, but yeah, I mean, great season, and I'm looking at this Super Bowl kind of as the Hope Bowl, meaning look, the Seahawks fans, the Patriots fans, they're already sky high, and they should be. Amazing season. Someone's going to win Super Bowl championship. But for the rest of the 30 fan bases that are watching this right now, if this Super Bowl matchup can't give you hope that next year could be your year, I don't know what will. Because we're talking about a Seattle Seahawks team that was a non playoff team a year ago, that was in the quarterback market a year ago, that 2 years ago was looking for a new head coach and hired a guy who had never been a head coach at any given level. I mean, that's about as big of a reset button as you can possibly hit. Taking on the New England Patriots, a non-playoff team from last year, a non-playoff team from 2 years ago, 8 combined wins over the previous 2 years prior to this year, that was in the quarterback market 2 years ago, that was in the head coaching market 1 year ago. I mean, what more can you say? Like, if there are Cleveland Browns fans out there right now, you have hope for next year that you could at least be a playoff contender, if not a Super Bowl contender, in a short period of time. I think it's a fun way to look at this matchup.
You can even relate that to the college world this year. Indiana, talk about a turnaround. I mean, that happened in
Yep.
snap of a finger.
and,
So
and maybe even harder to do it in college, quite frankly, than the
sure,
pros,
sure.
with obviously the draft system being the way it is in the NFL, the scheduling, last place teams with last place schedules the next year, all that type of stuff. But yeah, there is hope. You got to get a couple breaks and you got to work your tail off. But there is hope for every single team that's competing coming into next year.
100%. I was going to bring that up too. I mean, the fact that both teams didn't even make the playoffs a year ago is mind blowing, and they make it this far all the way to the game. You have the Patriots escaping a second half blizzard in Denver, and then you have the Seahawks closing it out at the end against the Rams. I guess aside from the turnarounds that both these organizations have had so quickly in the span of a year, what jumps out to you right away about this game? Is it a couple of quarterbacks going at it? Is it, what side of the ball, I guess, presents a strong case to you to make it enjoyable this year?
Yeah, to me, it comes down to Drake May, an MVP candidate. By the time the game kicks off, he might be the league's MVP. I think it might be Stafford, but it's probably between those two guys. But Drake May, an elite season, MVP candidate level season against what is the best defense standing right now and one of the elite defenses from the NFL. May has already faced some top five defenses so far this postseason. Well, he's going to have his hands full here with the Seahawks with an extra week for them to prepare and McDonald and that coaching staff, dialing up everything that they've been dialing up this year. I think that's what the game comes down to. And then, of course, who turns the ball over? Because Seattle's a solid favorite in this game, but does everybody trust Seattle when it comes to protecting the football? The Seahawks had the second or third most turnovers in the NFL this year. Now, their takeaway giveaway ratio wasn't horrible because their defense was so good at snatching the ball away. But they are not the most careful team with the football. And Sam Darnold has been known. He's been terrific, really, by and large, the last two seasons. But he's been known to have multiple turnover games. Not saying he will, but if you're looking from the Patriots side of things, where can they get an advantage? Man, attack him, make him as uncomfortable as you can, as quick as you can, and hope that he gives you the football back and gives you an extra possession or two in the first or second half.
And you alluded to it at the start of that. Drake May, people want to say the Patriots maybe didn't play the strongest teams at certain points during the season, but for himself as a quarterback, they've had to face some tough defenses lately, like you've brought up, and maybe he's, I don't want to say regressed a little bit in the postseason, but it's been evident that some of the defenses have been extremely strong. So,
well, when the plays have been there, Darnold has made the plays, right?
Yes,
Jackson
yes.
Smith and Jigba had an all-world season, and obviously is their go-to guy. But Rashid Shaheed, what a pickup! AJ Barner, the tight end, has come on this year. Both running backs prior to Charbonnet's injury, both running backs had been a solid 1-2 punch. Kenneth Walker's running like he's trying to run for a $70 million contract in his next deal with Charbonnet out. Like their offense and their offensive line is done a nice job as well. Seattle's offense, do not sleep on them. And if people still think, oh, Sam Darnold, and they have some type of a thing attached to that is in the past as it seems like it can be in terms of how he's been playing. It should be a fun game, but Seattle's a solid favorite, and I think for good reason.
Sure. And I mean, just to recap on Darnold, I mean, a guy that is a backup quarterback, and then is now the starter in the Super Bowl. How crazy is that? I mean, you talk about another turnaround. That's an individual story that is just crazy.
And that's great because that there will be more than 100 million people that will be watching the Super Bowl, many of whom, not many, but maybe some of whom watch one football game all year, right? So they
There's your
go
story.
to a Super Bowl party, and it's like, well, they can barely tell you how many men are on the field at one time. But if somebody tells them this guy was left for dead on the side of the road, abandoned by the franchise that drafted him, by a second franchise that picked him up, a third franchise decided there was a better guy or a better option, and now here he is. Well, this is his fifth team. An amazing story, amazing human interest story. And if you don't have a horse in this race, why not root for Sam Darnold and how he's been? Because everyone can relate to that, right? Everyone has been told in their life at some point, you're not good enough. We don't think you're the guy or the gal for this job, right? You're not. We're moving on. We're doing something else. I don't want you, right? Everyone can relate to that. And Darnold has handled it. He's been able to take a platform and say, I told you so if he wanted to. He hasn't had a sniff of that at all. He's been gracious about his time in Carolina with the Jets, with, all the things that have happened. Like I think it's a great human interest story, and there will be a lot of people who necessarily don't pick Patriots or Seahawks who will go, hey, that guy, I want him to play well and see him happy at the end of this. And hey, look he was drafted in the top 5 to beat Patriots for championships. Here's his opportunity.
The chance.
Here's the chance.
Exactly. We'll get into Radio Row stuff in a minute, and maybe some events for next week. But just real quick, you've had a few weeks off now to recap the season. So many twists, turns, surprise teams. Jaguars with an incredible run there at the end. How would you summarize that NFL season? What were your main takeaways or favorite moments that were different this year?
I have my old Syracuse professors, those involved with grammar would cringe at this, but I have a saying that I always talk about the NFL, and I say nobody knows nothing. I study the NFL, I believe, as much as anyone possibly can during the football season. So I know facts, stats, figures, history, trends, data analytic. Like I dive into all of it. Nobody can figure it out, man. The fact that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions were non-players this year when it came to playoff clinching time. The fact that the Chicago Bears could come, you can't say out of nowhere, but could come and do what they did. The fact that this Super Bowl matchup is New England and Seattle for the reasons that we've already documented on this discussion, just fascinating, just awesome, and it continues to be. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, what a spectacular, spectacular season. You think about the plays that were made, like.
Yep.
One of my favorites on Red Zone this year was the Jordan Davis blocked field goal for a touchdown at the end, and that happened all the way back in September,
Early.
on a walk off for two teams that were in the playoff mix the whole way, and both teams made the playoffs, and the Rams and the Eagles. What a play! And then you think about like aesthetic plays that didn't necessarily impact the playoff race. Jameis Winston catching a quarterback throwback pass where when he hauled it in and shakes a linebacker at the 5 or 10 yard line at Ford Field in Detroit, he gets it in the end zone. He looked like a tight end in the NFL. I mean, fantastic, fantastic plays. The Caleb Williams, the Colston Loveland walk-off touch. Now, it wasn't was that a walk-off or it was in the final seconds of the game? It's hard to keep track of the Bears' last second wins, but in Cincinnati to ultimately win that game, and then all of his amazing throws and last second comeback. I mean, what a season. What a season. And I hope that Super Bowl 60 is a fitting punctuation mark to the end of the 2025 season.
You talk about the Bears' last second surge. They didn't win the game, but Caleb Williams on his heels, corner of the end zone. That was pretty cool.
Nico, when it happened, I, like everyone else, went back and reran the play to say, how did this happen? Like, how did the defense allow it, quite frankly? But how did he make this play? And I watched it, 3 or 4 times till I was satisfied. Okay, I pretty much had the grasp of it. And then I spent about an hour on social media just watching the bar reactions, the fan party reactions, the home reactions from Bears fans watching that play happen. I love those type of reactions because on that play in particular, obviously 4th down, do or die, he takes the shotgun snap, right? And drops back and then has to drop back further and then goes way back. And you see these people that are watching this. Some camera angles were better than other at bars and restaurants and parties and stuff. But you see their face, like those who really know football, you're like, this play is dead in the water 2 seconds into the play. This play is dead. The season is over. And then he does it again with the last 2 months that had built up to that. And Tirico's call on it, they did it again. Like, and at Soldier Field, just absolutely spectacular. It's what makes our hearts beat fast as sports fans. And what a thrill. What a thrill.
Just when you think it's over, it's not. There were a couple of videos I saw in Syracuse too. Same thing. You're not thinking much in the moment. Bears fans probably like, all right, let's see what happens. And then it's just the most unexpected reaction.
Yeah, I think it went from let's see what happens. I mean, it's 4th and 4 and and then when the play starts, like I said, it was dead.
It's more over.
Dead, and their faces just went sullen. And then 3 seconds later, when that ball lands, jubilation. I mean, fun stuff.
It was great. Well, speaking of fun, Radio Row coming up next week. all the media getting ready for the Super Bowl. Of course, people always talk about Levi Stadium being a ways away from San Francisco and all that. But, for you, going back to SF, um, going back to Radio Row, which is a once a year thing, what are you looking forward to most about this week?
Yeah, so the Super Bowl is a 3.5 hour game, but it's an entire week, as you and I both know, and I think as fans know, even those fans who are watching that maybe have never been to a Super Bowl. But for me, it's a work week, But San Francisco did a great job. They had it 10 years ago. Super Bowl 50 was the last time the Super Bowl was in San Francisco. It's one of the great, I say the Bay Area, right? Because there will be
Yeah.
things in Oakland. Obviously, Santa Clara is the site of the stadium. Heck, I've got one of the functions in San Jose, so it'll be spread around, the entire greater Bay Area there. It's a world-class area. Hopefully, we get decent weather. San Francisco at this time of year can be, there's
Yeah.
a wide berth of what it is. I haven't even looked at the forecast yet because
Well,
I'm
real
like,
quick,
yeah,
I'll bring this up.
oh,
Yesterday morning, I saw it was the warmest city in the country at the morning
yeah.
time. Isn't that crazy?
That is wild. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been having some
So,
wild weather across the United States and across the world, but
yeah.
that is wild. Look, I don't care what the temperature is as long as it stays dry. I'll be good, and all the merrymakers and party goers and fans that fly into the city for the action, we'll have a good time. But I'm sure San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area will do a great job of hosting. Hopefully, the game delivers because that's really what it's all about. But and hopefully you and I cross paths there in San Francisco and can raise a glass to our beloved alma mater.
Definitely. Well, it should be great. Last thing, real quick, before I let you go, got to talk about it. Winter Olympics coming up. You'll be doing the Gold Zone again, and of course, this is an NFL conversation, but I know you're gearing up for that and looking to run it back from the summertime a couple of years ago. Quick couple of weeks for you, but what's at stake with this Winter Olympics? What are you looking forward to most about the scene in Italy now and doing Gold Zone for the second time?
Yeah, so Winter Olympics this time. So a whole new batch of sports that I need to make sure that I'm on point with.
The
Curling, I'm still
luge, the skeleton.
a little skeleton, but the timed events pretty much pretty simple. Now the nuances I'll never get, but the timed events, I'd be like, that guy beat that guy by 100th of a second, gold
Yep.
medal, boom. But the difference curling, I'm still watching some YouTube curling videos. Some of the judging scores that things are looked on, like ski jumping and half pipe, those type of things. I need to really get on point with. But it'll be a different pace. There are fewer countries involved just by nature of snow and ice, right? You're not going to get the entire globe. It'll be 80% of the countries will probably be there, but not everyone fields a Winter Olympic team. But there'll be some fewer countries, meaning fewer events, things like that, and lower expectations for the United States, right? Where the United States, Team USA in the summer games could win 30 gold medals. In the winter games, if Team USA wins a dozen gold medals at this winter games, that would be a massive success. So hosting Gold Zone for roughly 16, 17 days, we're looking for, we of course show you the world, but we're focused on Team USA for obvious reasons. If we get one gold medal a day or something close to that for Team USA, it'll be a big success. So it'll be a little bit different feel. I will say this: Milan, Cortina, Northern Italy, the Dolomites, it is going to be a jaw-dropping backdrop for this winter games. And of course, full fans there. The 2022 game still had some COVID considerations, believe it or not. So full fans, that atmosphere, all the countries coming together to compete in the world's greatest sporting event on snow and ice. It should be fun. I wish I had a bye week in between the Super Bowl and the Olympics, but that's the way the schedule goes. So join us on Peacock and NBC Sports Network for Gold Zone every day. The opening ceremony is Friday of the Super Bowl, and then we're rocking and rolling for 17 straight days of Olympic competition. Should be fun.
There's the plug. I love it. Well, it should be fun. We'll see you next week in San Francisco. Thanks as always for the time, and go Orange. Really appreciate it, Scott.
Nico, great to see you. Go Orange. Enjoy the Super Bowl, man.
Will do. Thanks again.